I'm Rhonda Halterman with LivWell Seniors. We're a free information and referral service connecting families to senior living options when you need it. So today we're going to talk about crisis mode. What happens when you're in a crisis? Mom or dad have went to the hospital, they've fallen, they've broken something, or maybe they've just been in the hospital for a few days, and what's next? So that might be different for you depending on how long your loved one has been in the hospital. We're just going to keep it simple, and we're going to talk about if they've been in the hospital for 3 midnights versus if they haven't been in the hospital for 3 midnights. So if your loved one has been in the hospital for over 3 days, there might be an opportunity for them to go to skilled care and have their insurance pay for a skilled stay prior to discharging back to home or another level of care, depending on what their abilities are going to be. So if we're talking about less than 3 days, the discharge might look like, well, mom or dad are being discharged because we don't have a reason to keep them in the hospital, and there's no reason to, no medical reason to be able to send them to skilled services. So are they safe to go back home? You know, you would certainly have to evaluate if they're safe to go back home, or if they need to go home with some services or with a loved one that needs to be able to provide the cares that they need. Or are we looking at discharging to a facility altogether because they need 24/7 watch? So let's talk about someone who's been in the hospital for less than 3 days. And you are a caregiver, adult caregiver for your parent or loved one. You're concerned about their safety and their ability to stay home safely. Maybe they have stairs going into their home and you know that they can't navigate those stairs. What situation are you going to be putting your parent or loved one in if you're assisting them in going back home? Are they capable of going back to the house? I often have families who maybe they lived in their house for over 50 years, and that house, when it was built, has the laundry room in the basement, and all the bedrooms are upstairs, and the bathroom is upstairs. So there's no feasible way for your loved one to be home safely if they can't get themselves to bed or get themselves to the bathroom if they have to go up and down the stairs. So the options you might have available to you would be providing care yourself for your loved one if you would be able to go over there and stay with them. Also bringing in-home services. You could outsource that through a private home care agency. LivWell does have our caring connections and our caring network that we connect families to help them identify what options they might be able to look at in bringing in home care. And then also you might be considering, well, mom needs more or dad needs more care than just the in-home care. Maybe they need 24/7 care. They need access to being able to push a button and get help in the middle of the night if they have trouble in their environment. So you might be looking at assisted living or other cares. So this will look different depending on what took your loved one to the hospital in the first place. You know, if they have a disease progression that's been slowly progressing over time and you know that it's going to continue to decline, you know, like a memory condition or something of that sort, that's going to be a different situation than if somebody fell and broke a hip or had a knee replacement or something of that situation that we know they can improve and get better from. So this happens more often than not, but I have families who have had a short hospitalization and have had to make the decision very quickly. Many times we have family members that aren't located in the location where their loved one lives. So recently we worked with a family who lived out of state, and on their way to coming back to the where their parent lived, they were calling LivWell to find out what could we do to help them identify the right senior living option for their loved one. And they weren't able to be at the hospital to figure out what's going on with mom. They just were relying on what the physician was saying, and the physician was saying that she is no longer safe to be at home in her apartment that she had been living in. She had had frequent hospitalizations, and they really needed to identify a senior living option for them where she had 24/7 care available to her since her adult children did not live in the area and could not assist mom. So while the son is driving in from out of state, LivWell was able to connect with him and talk with him about his mom's budget, about her level of care needs, about what her favorite things were and what her, things that might be important to her. We were also able to go and meet mom in person at the hospital and just talked to her about what was important to her. She understood that she needed to go to another level of care and was not able to go home safely. So she was on board with looking at some senior living options. And in this particular situation, before the son was able to arrive at home, we had identified the right senior living situation for mom with her input before he even got back into town. So another time that we worked with the family, we were able to help them identify some home care solutions. Their desire was to stay at home, and they had family in town that was able to assist them intermittently, but they did work. So they needed some specific time frames during the daytime hours and some time frames over the weekend that would be, that they needed some cares. LivWell was able to connect them with some home care providers that they could interview with and talk with and determine what fit their needs. What kind of cares did they need provided for them, and who was a good match for them to be able to keep their loved one at home. So we're going to look at different living solutions that might be helpful, whether it be a temporary solution like respite care or more of a long-term solution like assisted living or long-term care. That's what's going to be your determining factor on what you need to look for when your loved one is in this situation in the hospital. So at LivWell, we're available 24/7, evenings and weekends, to help you navigate these senior living considerations. Because our experience has brought us into working with families like this day in and day out, we do understand the gravity that you might be in the situation that you're in. So we can help you navigate identifying the right senior living option based on your loved one's budget, level of care need, and desired lifestyle. So for us, it's an easier approach to assisting you and your loved ones in navigating what to do next, because this is something that we do on a daily basis, versus you as the adult caregiver being in the midst of a crisis, emotionally charged situation, trying to figure out, oh no, what's going to happen with mom or dad? I know they're not safe to be home. I'm not sure what to do next, and who do I trust, and where can I take them? So if you've had 3 midnights and mom or dad are not safe to go home, what does that look like? The traditional rule is after they've had a 3 midnight stay, their insurance typically will pay for a skilled stay. And what skilled means is they have the capacity and the ability to have a rehabilitation period where their insurance is going to cover their cares in a skilled nursing facility. And that is going to be a rehab facility. Those terms are used interchangeably, skilled and rehabilitation. But your insurance is going to determine, do they have the ability to make improvements? If they're not at their previous baseline, what does that look like? And a skilled stay or rehabilitation is typically 14 to 21 days. So if we're in a situation where your loved one gets to go to rehabilitation or skilled therapies, skilled cares, and it's a facility that allows them to make continual improvements, that does buy you as a caregiver some time to make the determination, is my loved one safe to go back home after this skilled stay? Do they still have the impediments that are in the house that maybe caused this? A lot of adults like to use rugs and throw rugs and things of that nature. Did they trip and fall over that? What does their living situation look like? And is it still safe for them with their with what's going on with their health? If you determine that it's not safe for your loved one to go back home, you definitely need to start looking at what are those other options. If you think, yeah, they are safe to go back home, but maybe they should get a little bit of additional help. Maybe we can bring in some home care services just to help through the interim. Or maybe it might be a consideration that they're not safe to go home, but you can look at some respite stay options. Respite stay would be a short-term stay in an assisted living facility. So you could do a respite stay that would not be a permanent move, that offers you the ability to stay at a senior living community for anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days. Again, buying you some time to make the determination, is my loved one safe to be at home? You have to take all things into consideration what took them to the hospital in the first place. Is this a first hospitalization? Is there a level of frequency that's going on that you're seeing a decline in your loved one and you're just not sure if they're safe to go back home or not? So sometimes you have to make these decisions more quickly, and sometimes you have a little bit more time. Either way, you still have to make these decisions, whether you're in the midst of a crisis or you're planning. And LivWell is here to help you navigate those decisions and those options that are going to meet your family's needs, no matter what their situation is. So LivWell Seniors is a free information and referral service, and you can connect with us online at LivWell Seniors.com. That's LivWellSeniors.com. And 563-265-1577 is the way to get in touch with us. We are available evenings and weekends, so if you need some help even during those crisis moments, we can assist you.